I've been money craving, started shoebox saving, made some puzzle placements. I know what this life gon' come with, know that they gon' go and hate it when you make it.
Welcome back to Nationwide Sports Talk. I'm Matt Mackey, live from West Virginia. Wild and want to be off. Episode 111, and it's the March Madness breakdown. But before we get started, live from Morgantown, Caleb, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We have, like Mackie said, a whole college basketball breakdown. My favorite time of the year. I know it's one of Mackie's favorite times of the year. I'm sure it's your all's favorite time of the year. So let's dive into it.
Before we dive into it, let's just think back last year when the conference tournaments were going on, and then bam, canceled. Then we're like, we'll do a March Madness. Bam, canceled. NBA, canceled. NHL, canceled. MLB, canceled. And just thinking to where we are today and how it's back. He's back. Like, shit. Alrighty. But March Madness in Indianapolis this year. All games will be played in Indianapolis throughout the city. Played at, like, Indiana's Coliseum and Lucas Oil, IUP up there. Like, all those types of different stadiums are going to be used for all these games. So there's no really traveling across country like to how they do in Dayton and then down in Dallas, that kind of thing. Nope, it's all in one area this year. If you were to go to the game, capacity 25%, it's definitely worth it. But I think this year it's kind of like a clean cut tournament, honestly, from what I've seen from how the brackets laid out. And I'm just going to say Gonzaga got an easy-ass ride to the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the really two toughest matchups that I haven't gone up against would be Virginia, who's, I mean, you know, they've been good, but haven't been up to previous Virginia teams' performance. And then I have them playing Iowa in the Elite Eight, but it's just, like I've said so many episodes, Gonzaga has been the best team all year long, and they've been consistent. So, I mean, for them to kind of have this easy ride into the Final Four is, like you said, it's kind of shocking to me, especially knowing that they have been the best team all year long.
Couldn't agree more. But let's start with the bracket where Gonzaga's playing, known as the West side of the bracket. So Gonzaga plays Norfolk State, easy win. Gonzaga ain't losing to a 16 seed team. No way. That's out of the question. That's not even a thought, because all you hear about this tournament this year, if you're betting anything, Gonzaga or the field. The field means everybody else. So that's just how I feel about that. And it's kind of like hype. There's a couple good games inside the South region, honestly, more than other ones. I'd say. Like, I like that Oklahoma-Missouri matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going back and forth on who decided to win that game. Because I like Xavier Pinson as a player from Missouri. I like Jeremiah Tillman. But then I look at Oklahoma, and they're coming from the Big 12. SEC wasn't as strong. Missouri was inconsistent. And Oklahoma, they were hot. You know, they heated up midway through the year when they had that long game stretch. Remember, we talked about that a couple episodes back. But then they fell off a little bit. I mean, they have already played Alabama. They played Kansas, Texas, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Like, they play all those teams. I'm looking at myself like, they're more prepared. But Missouri got good players.
Yeah, this one was kind of a toss-up for me too, because, like you said, Oklahoma has been good all year long. They've played, I think, probably some of the toughest competition you can play in college basketball this year, and they were able to win some of those games. And this Oklahoma team, they came out to be a scrappy 15-10 and finished sixth in the Big 12. I think they move on to the second round. Sadly for this Oklahoma team, they're going to have to face a powerhouse in Gonzaga. But I think Austin Reeves and De'Vion Harmon, I think they're going to be enough to get past this Missouri team in the first round.
All right. And listen to this one, Caleb. Here we go. My first upset. I like UC Santa Barbara over Creighton. Mainly because of Creighton's last performance against Georgetown. Terrible. Awful. They have a great point guard. He averages 15 a game with Marcus Zagorowski. But then you just look at UC Santa Barbara and how dangerous they can be. They have a guard named Jakari McGlone. Had 23 points in that Big West title game. Dominant player. And then you look at what's going on inside the Creighton locker room. That energy's not there. McDermott and his comments, because I haven't really heard if he's really suspended still. I've not heard that yet.
I haven't either, and I didn't even hear the comments that he made that got him suspended. But, I did see a lot of talk about it, and I would assume that the Creighton University, I don't think they would reinstate him just for the tournament, if that makes sense. So I'm with you. I think UC Santa Barbara can get this just because of A, how Creighton has struggled all year, and B, I mean, you have so much going on in that locker room. You know that their heads are going to be somewhat not all the way focused on that game. So I got to take Santa Barbara in this one. And why not? You always got to take an upset in March.
Exactly. And we're not going to talk about every game in each side, but this one might sound a lot because I think there's a lot of good ones that could happen. And the next one, I think Ohio can beat Virginia. Mainly because Virginia, they had COVID. You don't know which player got it. You don't know which player came in contact with. You don't know which player's not playing. You don't know how many players are traveling with. You don't know that at all. And this Ohio team has a point guard named Jason Preston. And Jay Bilas said he's the LaMelo Ball of college basketball. And we know what LaMelo Ball can do. He's a winner. And he averages 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists a game while shooting over 50% from the floor. So I think this is an upset right here, just mainly because of you don't know what's going on at Virginia as well.
I really wasn't going to take Ohio in this, but I'm looking at the money line and the spread, and I go back to how Ohio played their, I think, second game. Give me a second. Sorry, their third game against then-ranked number 8 Illinois. They lost by 2 points, 77-75. And Jason Preston had 31 points. And I'm not going to lie, I really didn't know much about this kid before this game. But when I was sitting there watching this game and watching a small-town Ohio school almost beat up on a then-ranked top 10 Illinois team who has 2 superstars and 2, I think, first-team All-Americans. I know Iowa's a first-team All-American.
Cochran,
right?
second team.
And then, okay, so 2 superstars. Yeah. And he was able to put up 31 points and hold Iowa to 27. Now, granted, 27 is a lot of points, but he still outscored Iowa. So I think it's a win in his books. Yeah, I think this Ohio team can get it done. It wouldn't surprise me. Just going off of how they've played all year, this Virginia team, again, like you said, they've kind of struggled a little bit. I think they've gotten better throughout the year, but Ohio, man, they've been good, and I think they kind of deserve a tournament win. So I think this is going to be key for them.
And another good game is the playing game that happened, Wichita and Drake. That was a great game last night. Drake came out on top, won about 1 point against Wichita, 53-52. So that means Drake is playing USC. Now, I've been back and forth on this one too, because Drake has been hot all year, and Drake's my go-to betting team. They play USC, who's come from the Pac-12, inconsistent conference, inconsistent as a general team that can be. I mean, yes, Evan Mobley is a stud, all-American player. He had 26 points against Utah, 9 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the Pac-12 tournament. But I'm just looking. Drake's without their best player, Roman Penn. So I'm like, do I keep betting my team, or I had to like throw the flag in finally on the season for them?
Was Roman Penn out last night? Because I know they were down a player. I don't remember if it was him or not. I was at
Yeah.
work when they were playing. But you know, I did watch a little bit of this game, and Drake is, like you said, they've been good all year, and they looked really good last night. They looked like they wanted to be in this tournament, and they deserve to be in this tournament. They have a guy named Joseph Yusufu, who is, I think, one of the one of the best two-way players, can play defense and score the ball. You know, I'm kind of looking for an upset in this one. I don't think Pac-12 competition has been up to par of what we've expected. I mean, you know, we've talked about it, I think, 3 or 4 times. Football and basketball in the Pac-12 has kind of fallen off, and I think this is going to be one of those games where you have an 11 seed upset a 6 seed.
See, that's what I've been thinking. I'm saying myself like, you know, you got USC has a top 3 pick, Evan Mobley, All-American player, and then you got Drake, who's without one of the best players, barely gets by Wichita State, and then they got to play 2 days later against a dominant USC team.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things with me too, is that Mobley, with just how good he is, and I mean, he's so dominant on the boards, and his biggest thing, I think, is shot blocking. Like we talked about, one of the best players coming into this year, taking over for a team, and Evan Mobley was on my list because of just how he can impact and guard the rim. But Drake can shoot the ball, so I'm thinking that they're gonna take advantage of the outside shots, and I think they can get up and down the floor a little bit more than this USC team can.
All right. And another good game in that West region. Number 7, Oregon taking on number 10, VCU. VCU is led by their sophomore guard, Deshaun Highland, who was the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, averages 19.4 points per game. And his 3-point shooting is incredible, they say. And I'm just looking at this. He has scored 30 points or more 3 times and 20 or more points 11 times. Another all A10 player on that team is Vince Williams. He's hit over 43s this season. Phenomenal free throw shooter. And then you just look at what they do. They turn the ball over a lot. They turn the ball over 21% of the times when they're in the possession of the ball. Oregon this year, they were the regular season champion. They won 11 of the 12. But I just can't get over the fact of Pac-12. And I've known who the Oregon's lost to, and I know who Oregon fell off this year. They were supposed to be a great team this year, top 20 team, started the season, and then they ended up being unranked. But they have played great throughout the course, you could say. But I go back and forth on this one too.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm leaning VCU in this one, just because if you go back to any the old days, or 2 years ago of March Madness, there's always been that one team who's been a shocker, but the reason they've been a shocker is because they have that guy. And I think that this year is like, you have a couple teams that have that guy, like Ohio with Jalen Preston, or this VCU team with Nashawn Highland. I mean, they have 2 that guys on that team. So I'm thinking, I think if VCU wins this one, just because, again, same thing with USC, Oregon, the Pac-12. Just, I'm not sold on them, and I don't think I can be sold over them. On them over, I think, a pretty good VCU team who, again, you look at who Oregon's lost and who they beat, it's kind of shaky. This VCU team, they've been good all year.
So after you saying that, after you brought up the good point in recent years, there's always not one guy on each team. I'm going VCU. You made my mindset. So
Yeah.
after this episode, I'm going back to my brackets on CBS and ESPN and changing that shit quick
Yeah.
because I forget which one I picked. Looking over the East, I think the East can be very good. Like it's going to be tough for Michigan to make it through the tournament, honestly, as it is as a whole. Yeah, they got a great All-American Hunter Dickinson, but I look at the rest of the region. You got Alabama. You got an LSU team that's going to be scary. You got a Georgetown team's hot, a Colorado team who you don't know what can happen at any moment, Florida State who's dominant, a BYU team who plays fierceless and played amazing against Gonzaga in that in that West Coast Conference title game. Then you got Texas who can shoot the ball very well, and then you got UConn and Maryland who you don't know what can happen because they can play well one minute and they play like shit the next. You don't know what you're going to get. So this one, I think is going to be a tough one for Michigan to make. Plus, Michigan is without who's that? Is it Livers out?
I believe so.
Livers is out for them. No doubt about it, Michigan's not losing 16 seeds. They're not going to lose six. No, they're not going to do it. So the best game I think in this whole entire region, honestly, that Colorado and Georgetown game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Georgetown comes out on top. Colorado, again, they've played great all year. They've been, I would say, pretty surprising all year too. I definitely wasn't expecting them to get a 5 seed this year, but Georgetown, man, like you said, they've been hot here recently. And when you're hot and you carry that into March Madness, it's scary. And it can lead you to the round of 32, or it can lead you to a national championship. Um, it just kind of all depends. And I think this Georgetown team, I think I talked about it with you. It's kind of surprising to see. Obviously, last year there was no tournament because of COVID, but Mac McClung transfers out of this Georgetown program, goes to Texas Tech. Obviously, Texas Tech becomes 10 times better, but this Georgetown team kind of looks like they really didn't miss a step without him leaving. So,
Going off what you said there, I mean, Georgetown throughout the season,
definitely looked like they missed him a little bit, but towards the end, I mean, it's like, okay, they don't really miss him. Like they kind of got things figured out towards the end.
towards the end of the season, they're talking about firing Patrick Ewing.
Well, that's where they went on their run, was when they
Exactly.
towards the end.
It put a fire in their ass, I feel like, and he put a fire in their ass.
Yeah, I mean, I know last year they started off pretty bad too.
Oh yeah,
which is why McClung transferred out. So, but yeah, I think Georgetown goes to this one, and you all might be surprised by this, but I think I have Georgetown in the Sweet 16. Yeah, I do. I have Georgetown in the Sweet 16. I think they can do it. Again, if you're hot, you're hot, and that can carry over.
It can carry over. Georgetown's a very trendy upset pick, but I look at Colorado. I think they're the better team overall. They've been the most consistent. They're the hot. And what comes down in March Madness, I feel like too, is can you make your free throws? It's a common thing. You look back in 2010 when Duke and Butler played. Butler missed his free throws at the end, and they did a half court 3-point shot to get the win almost, but they missed the free throws. That happened. You got to make your free throws. Colorado's the best free throw team, both best free throw shooting team in the nation. They're shooting 83%. Yes, Georgetown is a good 3-point shooting team, but they don't compare to the rest of the field. The Big East are the best team in the Big East, but other than that, no. And then you look at players for Colorado. Evan Batty, that dude balls hard. He will lead the contact, draw the fouls, and that's why they shoot so many free throws and have the best percentage rate in the nation, because they draw fouls. And I've been liking this Colorado team all year long. I've been betting on them all year long too. I mean, obviously, depending on the play, but every time I know they're going to play like a team, I see that spread's 5.5. I'm going Colorado, and I'm just looking at this. Yes, they don't have a good resume outside of the conference. Like the non-conference resume, it's out the window. That shit ain't there. But Georgetown, they play top 25 teams pretty much every week. Creighton, Villanova, UConn. Who else is there? Seton Hall.
Yeah, honestly, that's why I'm thinking like, if you can end your season on a good note, good enough to get you into the NCAA tournament, because let's be honest, if they didn't go on that hot streak, this Georgetown team wouldn't even be in the tournament at all. And they went on a good enough streak to get them up to a 12 seed. So, I think if you're able to go on a run in that hard of a conference like the Big East, I mean, I think we should definitely do a ranking of our conferences when like basketball's over, and do what we think the best conference was. But I'm putting the Big East in the top 3 if we do. And, if you can go on a run in that, again, with Colorado being in the Pac-12, I think you can beat almost anybody, which is why I have them won the Sweet 16.
And another reason why I'm not picking Georgetown, I'm picking Colorado, is because later on down the bracket we get talking. These 12 seeds every 12 seed can win that 5 seed game. And every year the 12 seed beats 5 seed. Every year. You just got to pick the right one. But I think this year's the hardest year for it because every single team can beat that 5 seed. And I'm looking back being like, I guess you could say, what's the word? Superstitious. Like, all right, you can't have every 12 seed win. Just like when you're taking a test, you can't have A 4 times in a row. No, something's off. Something's off. He's like, okay, you gotta make a switch real quick. So like here, that's why I'm not picking Georgia, I'm picking Colorado, just mainly because of that reason, honestly. Being superstitious, like, nope, every 12 seed can't win, can't do it. So I like Colorado. Then I like, you could say BYU versus UCLA. UCLA beat Michigan State last night in overtime. That high scoring game pissed me off because I thought Michigan State was gonna win that game. Lost my parlay bet just because of that one. But BYU team's a scary team. They're good. They're not as core as good as last year's team before, but let's think about this. They got a 7-3 transfer from Purdue before the season started. Good rebounder, phenomenal named Matt Harms. And then you look at the other roster and what they've done. They played Gonzaga to the final whistle, I feel like, in that West Coast. They were up by 12 at halftime. It's Gonzaga. Gonzaga got to come back, and I like BYU a lot.
I do too. I mean, you look at this BYU team, again, like you said, they weren't really as good as last year's team, but this team is 20-6, sitting at second in the WCC. I mean, what better can you ask for? Three of your losses were to the best team in college basketball. So if you don't lose those 3 games or you don't play them, you're sitting at 20-3 or whatever the case may be. And then let's not go off the fact that they beat a pretty good San Diego State team, who I think is going to advance to the second round. It's crazy. I never thought I'd be talking about BYU. We were talking about them in football this year too, so I guess I couldn't say that. But I have them going. I think I told you before we started. I have them going to the Sweet 16, and I never thought I would put
Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I have them going up against Alabama in the Sweet 16.
Oh, my bad. 32.
But I never thought I'd be, again, taking this BYU team to the Sweet 16, but just how they've played against Gonzaga those 3 times, again, playing, I think the championship game really sealed it for me. Again, like you said, playing them to the whistle, not giving up at all, and just how scrappy they are, I think is going to be key for them. And again, this first game I think is going to be one to really figure it out. You're going up against a Power 5 team who I want to say UCLA is bad, um, but they're not up to UCLA standards like previous years. And but it's still a good team, and it's still a good team that you can figure shit out with before you go up against a really good Texas team who can shoot the ball and defend the basket well. So yeah, I like BYU. I think it's going to be a close one though with UCLA.
All right, and then the final best game in that region, I like UConn versus Maryland, mainly because Maryland is led by their defensive player of the year in the Big Ten, Darren Morsley. Also, they play phenomenal defense as it is. They have 3 guards who've each made over 44 3-points. There's no really margin for error for this Maryland team, so they can't make mistakes, and they don't generate turnovers, and they don't let other teams get second shots. That's how I look at it. And they play very hard. And this UConn team also has the Big East Defensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Whaley. And I think it's going to be a nice defensive matchup battle. It's going to be a phenomenal game. And I like Maryland mainly because they're a tougher team. Tougher, more gritty, more attitude kind of team. Plus, UConn, they were a good team going to the Big East tournament. I'm not going to lie to that one. But I didn't get to watch Big East tournament because I was working that much. But I like Maryland a lot in this one for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Maryland this one too. I think UConn, obviously they're a good team. They've played scrappy all year. They've been, I think, one of the best defensive teams statistically. But this Maryland team, I think they're just more built for this. In the Big Ten tournament, they played well. They've played good teams all year long. So has UConn, but I think Maryland's more prepared for this one.
All right, looking at the South region. Just go ahead and say it. And a 16 seed beating Baylor. That ain't happening. So start with that number 8 UNC versus number 9 Wisconsin game. This is going to be a good one. I like this one as well. And just where the Tar Heels have played towards the end of their season, they have the best offensive rebound in the country, without a doubt. Grabbing up to 41% of the misses that go up on the rim. And Roy Williams, when his basking plays, they like to attack. Plus, found this out too, and statistics matter. Roy Williams has never lost a first-round game.
Yeah, I think he's like 18-0 or some crazy stat in the first round. So as soon as I heard that, I took North Carolina. I'm not going to say Wisconsin has been shit this year because they're sitting at 17-12 and they got a 9 seed. So it's like you can't be bad if you're sitting at a 9 seed, but they've been, I would say, inconsistent. It seems like they'll go on a decent run, get a couple wins, and then they'll fall off and lose 3 straight. And then they'll go back on a run, get a couple wins, fall off, lose 3 straight. This North Carolina team, it was really just about figuring stuff out for them, figuring out how to play when dealing with COVID, and they're young. So, sadly, if North Carolina wins this round of 64 game, they have to go up against the powerhouse in Baylor, or else I probably would take North Carolina to probably the Sweet 16, because I think this North Carolina team has started to find their groove here of late, and I think they could be deadly. But then again, they would have to run into Baylor. So, but yeah, Roy Williams, 17-0 first round. He's going to make it 18-0. There's no doubt about it. And I think he also has one of the longest streaks of being in the college basketball tournament.
Yeah, because I think,
Izzo has 322 or something like that. It's insane.
Next game up, 5 Villanova taking on a 12 Winthrop. This is what I mean when every 12 seed can win. The way Villanova's played without Gillespie is shit. The way Winthrop has played this season, phenomenal. Outstanding performance they have played. Plus, they got a little chip on their shoulder. They're 1-10 in the NCAA tournament. Their last one came in 07. So I like that. But they have a nice guard play, honestly. He transferred from Tennessee. It's the highest rated recruit ever in Winthrop history. Let's go ahead and say that. And his name is DJ Burns. Load in the low post, if that makes sense. He will back you down. This is why Winthrop's dominant, because this kid, because 1-1 ain't really known to have a 4-star recruit going to Winthrop. But he transferred from Tennessee to there. They play very versatility. They have 2 really good point guards, Kyle Zunick and Michael Nuba. They tough players. But like I said, with Colin Gillespie out, All-American point guard he is, I think it's just the fact that Villanova lost their heart, their reach, I think, their motivation, because they want to have him win it. And it's sad to say that would happen. Like, it's heartbreaking how he tore his ACL like that. Like, that's nothing you want. But that's why I think Winthrop can win this game.
Yeah. With let's be out, they have played, like you said, I guess shit. It's the easiest way to put it, because they've really struggled. But I think they still win this one. And honestly, I think I have them going to the Sweet 16. I just think Jay Wright would be able to adjust to his situation. He's had a couple games without Gillespie, so I think he's kind of been able to figure out everything. I think they've had 7 days of testing. I think they had to have 7 consecutive days of negative tests for them to practice and play or whatever for the tournament. Each team did. And so, they've had that time to just relax in their hotel room and kind of get their minds right. So I'm taking Villanova in this one. I think that they're going to have a hot hand coming out tonight.
That's another thing, too. COVID hit their team and just act like, all right, who's playing, who's not?
Yeah.
Who got it, who didn't?
Yeah.
It's not how Duke got it, came out and said a walk-on got it. Like, a walk-on got it. We can still play. What the hell are you talking about? He don't even play.
Right.
But Villanova never said who got it.
Yeah, and, it's obviously there's been, like, Duke, Kentucky have been really impacted, but this shows, like, programs who I think have made the tournament this year, I think are going to make reoccurring visits in the program in future years, because I think if you can make a program run to the tournament in the toughest time like COVID, I think you'll be able to make it next year or years after, when everything's perfectly fine. You won't have to deal with COVID and testing and all that.
I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but Duke ain't gonna miss another tournament.
Well, no. But I'm saying, obviously, other than Duke and Kentucky, there will be more spots open, because those two obviously filled back up.
Another great game in this region. Number 6, Texas Tech taking on number 11, Utah State. Let's go with Texas Tech has been phenomenal this year because of Mac McClung. Let's go ahead and say that. Boom, it's out there. But not just him, Terrence Shannon Jr., another dynamic point guard, another dynamic player with Mac McClung. But you look at this Utah State team. They beat San Diego State twice. All right. They have an amazing defensive presence on the court. I'm gonna butcher the hell out of his name. Nemias Keita won Defense Player of the Year in the Mountain West. And then you got another guard play with Justin Dean. He's a versatile defender and a rebounder. Plus, they had a transfer in from Virginia, Marco Anthony. And what does Virginia really do? Play defense. What does Virginia recruit you for? Defense. Boom. There's that. But I like Texas Tech in this one. They shoot the ball a lot better. They're more, you could say, fast. So they're faster than Utah State. They like to run up and down, up and down. And then it goes back to who have they played to get them prepared for this tournament? Kansas, WU, Texas, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, all teams 2 times. That's 10 games right there. They've literally played for this moment. So I like Texas Tech in this one.
I do too. I mean, you go off of. Let's just listen to these 5 games that are, or sorry, yeah, 5 games that are back to back. You have West Virginia, at LSU, home against Oklahoma, at Kansas State, and then home against West Virginia. And they were able to win 3 of the 5 games, and 2 of the losses were to West Virginia. So, again, like you said, I think I'm just pretty much going to be repeating you, but this Texas Tech team, they've been, I would say, they stepped up a tier with McClung coming in this year. They've been really, really good, and I think this could be an Elite Eight team to Final Four team. If they come out firing, they hit their shots, defend well. Like you said, they like to run the floor. So as long as they're able to get up and down the floor, don't let the other team slow the ball down, slow the game down. They play the way they want to play. Again, I think this Texas Tech team could be Elite Eight, Final Four worthy.
I think Final Four is a stretch. I'd say that one. But then
A
again,
little bit of a stretch, but you never know this year. So
that you don't know in this year. Plus, it's not like NBA Finals where it's best of 7, that kind of thing. It's literally
you got to go out
play
there and
one,
perform one game.
and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can happen. March Madness, that's the crazy thing. That's why it's called March Madness. It's madness. Your bracket will probably bust it if you don't pick the right 12 seed to win against 5 seed.
That's true.
It's happening this year. And I'm going to call right now. It's going to happen It's going to happen at least 2 times.
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be 2 12 seeds getting upset, if not more. I could see all 4 pulling off one.
Now, I don't see anything more than a 13 seed getting in. I'll tell you that, like Ohio beat Virginia. I don't see anything more than that looking at this.
I don't know, because I think this next game that we talk about could be a shocker. I don't know if you were going to talk about it. I think Colgate could give – I don't know if they'll win, but I think they could give Arkansas a run for their money.
I wasn't really going to talk about it because I think Arkansas can win. I just think it's going to be a very close one and a high-scoring one.
I just look at this Colgate team. Yeah, they've played 15 games. Yeah, they've played, I think, only in conference, but they're still good, and they can shoot the shit out of the ball. So, I'm thinking if Arkansas is taking this Colgate team lightly, like, we got 3 seed, we're going up against 14 seed. They've played 15 games. We've played, 28. We can take them a little bit lightly. I think Colgate would come out firing, and I think they could beat Arkansas if Arkansas takes them lightly.
And I mean, I agree with you 100%. Like, that's what you hear a lot about. Colgate can win. Colgate can win. But you know me, I've been hot on this Arkansas team all year long. I mean, we talked them back when they weren't even ranked. I was like, why are they not ranked? They're 9-0.
Right.
And
look at them now; they're at 3 seed, which is crazy.
Yeah, 100%. So let's move on to the next region and the last region, the Midwest. I think this is a very strong one. Very strong one. But first off, you got Illinois, the 1 seed. Easy win, boom. That's going to be very bad here for Drexel. 8 versus 9. Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. Another team I always bet on, Loyola Chicago. I like them a lot in this game. I think they are they're probably the best mid-major team. I mean, yes, they play in the Missouri Valley Conference. Not really a mid-major, so the lower major, you can say. But I think they're as good as any mid-major team. And I think they're as good as any, they're better than Georgia Tech. Boom, there's that. And with this game, Loyola Chicago can change the pace of the game at any moment. Because, like I said, I've been betting them all year long. They can put up 80 points and then hold you to 48 points, and they'll put up 50. They change the pace. They make the game manage how they want to manage it.
Call me crazy, but I've seen a couple people, and I've kind of agreed with it. Like, if again with Arkansas, if they go out and take Colgate, if Illinois goes out and takes Loyola Chicago lightly in the round of 32, Loyola Chicago is going to give them a problem, and they might beat them as an 8 seed. So I'm with you. I mean, I definitely have Loyola Chicago winning this one, but best mid-major, best, I think, one of the best sleeper teams in this. If you want a team to, I mean, sadly they play Illinois is in the second round. I think is like the thing that like if you wanted a team to make a run, this would be the team if they didn't play Illinois. But me personally, I think if they beat Illinois, I think sky's the limit for them. You know, so but yeah, this team has been
Done it
good
before.
all year long. What was that?
They've done it before
They have, and
as an 11 seed.
yeah. So who knows? I mean, this year would be the year that we would see a 1 seed getting upset. I mean, a 1 seed got upset with Virginia 3 years ago, but
And what did
this
they do
would
the
be the
fall?
one with
They
like
came back and won the tourney.
yeah, which is insane. But yeah, this Loyola Chicago team, man, I'm trying to find the words to describe them, but
Unique.
yeah, because like you said, just the fact that they can in 1 minute they can be running up and down the floor like maniacs, and then the next they're walking the ball up the floor. They're slowing down, they're running set plays. You know, it's like just 2 minutes later, 2 minutes earlier, you guys were just running up and down the floor, not even running plays. You were just running around. And it's like, what's going on? So yeah, this team, they're crazy good.
Next game, it's at 5 Tennessee versus number 12 Oregon State. This has me going back and forth as well, mainly because of the way Oregon State played in that Pac-12 tournament. They had a great run. Ethan Thompson played very well in that tournament for Oregon State. But Tennessee, they are also very talented. You know, if they make their shots, they can beat anybody. Let's go ahead and say that. I mean, I think that's saying it goes for anybody as well. But they make their shots, they can beat anybody because they have a good defense. Then this group, I think this Tennessee team is better than when 2 years ago. Who was that player's name they had? Ooh, plays for the Celtics now.
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's on the tip of my tongue, but
I think this team is more special, more unique than that team because they got a low post threat with John Fulkerson. They got two phenomenal freshmen. Jaden Springer's one of them, and then Keon Johnson, athletic as hell. They force turnovers. They have guys coming in and out. They run a 8 to 9 man roster every single game. But they beat you up down low. They will beat you up defensively. They make sure that you will remember this game. You're going to wake up hurting tomorrow morning. So I like Tennessee in this one, but it would not surprise me if Oregon State gets upset.
I agree. I like Tennessee in this one. Same. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon State pulls off the upset, but just the way that this Tennessee team has played all year. Again, Jaden, like you said, Jaden Springer has been pretty much phenomenal. I would say one of the best freshmen this year, aside from Cade Cunningham, because he's just done outstanding things this year. But this Tennessee team, I mean, you know, this is another team that I think can make a run. Sadly, they're kind of missing one of their big men, John Fulkerson, right now. I don't know if they have announced if he's coming back for the NCAA tournament or not. I know he just went under some surgery for facial injury or something that they had Friday against their game against Alabama. But if they get him back, I'm thinking this Tennessee team makes a decent run in this tournament. But
Yeah.
I think they win this. I could see them winning this round of 64 pretty single-handedly, honestly. Like, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I could see him win it single-handedly. I could also see him getting upset.
100% agree. The best 4 versus 13 seed game, Oklahoma State versus Liberty. 100% agree. I think Oklahoma State should be seated higher as a thinking about that anyways. But if you look who has Liberty played, they played just like Virginia. They're second in the nation scoring defense. They won 11 straight games. They have beaten Mississippi State, South Carolina, and played tough games against Purdue, TCU, and Missouri. And it's led by Darius McKee, a small guard who can make any shot. Deep range three, got it. He had 7 of those against Mississippi State. He was the Atlantic's the ASUN Player of the Year and hit 81 threes, shooting 40%. But then you just look at Oklahoma State, like, they got Cade Cunningham. Like, yeah, they beat WU 3 times now, was it? Yeah.
Mhm.
3 times in a row. Back to back to back. And this Liberty team, they have a low turnover rate as well. They're good on defense. But Cade Cunningham is the best player in the country. Without a doubt. They also got Isaac Lakila. How do you say his last name?
I think you were right. I would probably look at
Lakile.
this,
Lakile. Then you got Khalid Boone, who I think is the most important player on this team because how much involved he gets into the game. And then I just think Cade Cunningham is too good that Liberty can't win. But it won't surprise me if Liberty beats them.
Yeah.
They're too involved in their game, too involved in the hype around that team, Oklahoma State. Like, oh, they're 13 seeds. We got this kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, but this Oklahoma State team, like you said, with just how dominant Cade Cunningham has been this year, showing that he's been single-handedly the best player in college basketball, proving why he was talked about being the number 1 pick before he even stepped foot on a college basketball court. It's kind of crazy now that I think about that. Like, he's lived up to that hype. Like, the man was talking about being number 1 pick. Then he just was like, "Okay, here you go. I'm gonna give you what you wanted." But yeah, this Oklahoma State team, I have them making a pretty decent run. Yeah, I have them going to the Sweet 16. I have them losing to Illinois in the Sweet 16, but this is a team like we've talked about, and same within the March. You never know. So again, I could see them beating this Illinois team in the Sweet 16 just because of how they've performed throughout the year. They've played well against Baylor. They beat WVU 3 times, like you said, and went on and won the Big 12 championship tournament. So this Oklahoma State team, what was it?
Texas won the Big 12 tournament.
Or sorry, they lost it. Played in the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they lost by 2 or something like that. It was a close game. But yeah, this Oklahoma State team, they're deadly as a 4 seed, and I'm with you. I think they should have got a 3, but it's kind of like then you kick West Virginia out of a 3 spot. So who else are you going to give?
Would you kick West Virginia or Arkansas? Yeah, sir.
Maybe Arkansas. I mean, because you can't kick out Kansas or Texas, so it would probably have to be Arkansas.
Imagine all the Big 12 teams are 3 seeds.
That'd be insane. But yeah, man, this Cade Cunningham is just unreal, and I'm glad I get to watch him a little bit more in March. That would be fun.
All right. Good game right here. Number 6, San Diego State versus number 11, Syracuse. I think this is going to be a good one, and I think Syracuse is going to get the win. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I think the way that Boeheim, how he coaches, and it's just so great to watch, and how he performs well in the NCAA tournament when he's a lower seed. When he was last year was 11 seed, he made the Sweet 16.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And think about his best player.
His son.
Damn. Good old buddy.
His son averaging 17 points.
I mean, this San Diego team I went is not like someone you can just like walk over. kind of thing because they got the Mountain West Coach of the Year, Brian Dutcher, and he's a phenomenal coach. But they also got the Mountain West Player of the Year, Matt Mitchell. Mitchell averaged 15.4 and 6.3 rebounds a game, shooting over 45%, and he just makes plays when he wants to. Let's go ahead and say that. They also got a senior guard who was an All-Mountain West, Jordan Shackle, and then they had a big man, Nathan Mensah, who he controls the paint, they say. But then you just look at Syracuse. They're not big, strong, or long on the baseline, but let's just say that they've had a up and down season. They won games when they needed to win games. They know how to play very well, and they have a great shooter named Buddy Boeheim. I'm just saying with that, and I think Syracuse can get this one easy against San Diego State.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be an easy win for Syracuse.
I'm saying I think it's easy for me to choose Syracuse over San Diego State. That's what I meant.
Yeah, this one was kind of tough for me because like Boeheim is obviously a great coach, and he's obviously one of the greatest coaches that have coached in basketball, hands down. But the Syracuse team, I mean, they were I think a quiet 16-9 this year. They were a quiet team. I just don't. Me personally, I don't see them getting this win over San Diego State. I think that San Diego State can just run the floor a little bit better and score a little bit better than the Syracuse team. But with that being said, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse pulls this off just because they have a guy named Boeheim who is leading them into this battle, who's been there, done that many times before. And again, I can't stress it enough. He's been established himself as one of the best coaches in college basketball history. So I'm going to pick San Diego State, but I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse pulls off an upset.
Do you want to talk about that W game or?
I mean, I think WVU is going to get a win as long as they don't play down to their competition. Like, I think I've said thousands of times on this podcast before, they don't play down to their competition. They play this game like you're playing against Baylor. The second half of that game, you'll be perfectly fine. You'll blow this team out of the water. And if they play like that all year, again, I think this WVU team could be a Sweet 16, Elite 8 team, maybe even Final Four. Could be a little stretch like it was with Texas Tech, but it's just how they've played all year. I think it goes with everyone this year. It depends if you show up or not.
I just realized Belmont's in the tournament.
Yeah, aren't they like a 14 seed or 13?
Belmont's in the tournament.
Oh, you said they're not.
Yeah, because Morehead State beat them in that Ohio Valley Conference tournament.
Oh, I thought they were in it.
Mm-mm.
Oh, damn. Well, I mean, Belmont did lose their first game pretty bad whenever we did that poll and everyone picked Belmont. They turned around and lost that game pretty badly.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny.
But this Morehead State team, they're 19-1 since the start of the year. Start of the new year. They started the season out 4-6, but over that 4-6 span, they played Kentucky, Richmond, Ohio State, and Clemson. Little Morehead State playing those 4 Power 5 teams. I was listening to Huggins' press conference, and they asked him about, how do you feel about playing Morehead State? He said, I don't know much about them. And then they said, how do you feel knowing that they're 19-1 since the start of the year? He goes, they're on the Big 12. I'm like, oh, shit.
Hey, Bob, we know he likes those short answers.
My favorite one is, well, you lost the game. What do you do different next game? Score more points.
My favorite is Therese Prince from Baylor, like 3 years ago when they
Oh,
lost
the
in the
rebound.
NCAA tournament. He was like, "Yeah, they just went up, grabbed the ball off the rim more than we did. They
But
got more, more of those than we did." Um, Belichick's definitely the best of short answers, though. No, Bob Huggins is. I think he understands how good his team is. Like I was telling my friend yesterday, this WVU team could, I think, probably like it's a little bit of a stretch, but probably win it all next year just because of how young they are. Like you look at every team. Every team this year
Caleb,
has
every single diehard W fan says that.
no. Just listen to what I'm saying though. Every team this year who is good has juniors and seniors who have been there for a while, or they have older guys who have veteranship on that team. You look at West Virginia, they're all young. They're all sophomores. Our oldest guy is maybe a junior, maybe a senior, but they can come back.
Yeah, Culver's a junior.
And then our oldest, I think, is a transfer. I can't remember. Can't remember his name. I think it's Sherman is a
Yeah.
senior, but he can come back next year because of the eligibility rule. But they're all young, and like I understand like they have a lot to figure out, but look at how young and just how good this team is, and then you look at all the other teams; they're all like old and good. So
Or you look at it, every team who's in I say, looking at Gonzaga, Oklahoma State, Illinois, they got those star players who I think are hard to replace because I think those
mhm.
star players are going to leave. Here's one: Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, Io, Cochran.
I mean, and then you look at Baylor. Butler's going to be hard to replace. That
Mm-hmm.
whole squad's going to be hard to replace because they're all so old, and that's why Baylor is so good this year. So, I mean, you know, again, like as a West Virginia fan, I know it might seem like I'm reaching, but just off of what I've seen, um, and how young they are, if everyone comes back and plays their role and Bob Huggins can. I think honestly the real thing is they need to play a little bit more defense. That's really it. Strap up on defense.
It's,
That's
it's
that's
weird to say
honestly
that for
it.
West Virginia. It's weird to
It
say.
is because usually with the West Virginia team we say they need to score more, but with this team we say we need to play defense, and if that happens, I think this West Virginia team could be really deadly down the stretch. But you know, one team I do think is going to be scary. I think it's going to be Houston.
All right, but before we talk about anything further than that, we got to talk about this last game. Number 7, Clemson taking number 10, Rutgers. Looking at this one, the Clemson Tigers, they were the best team defensive in the nation starting off. And then they had a bumpy little side thing in the midseason where they just went on a 6 game straight. After we talked about them and how hot they were, boom, 6 games straight they lost. I'm looking at this Rutgers team. They're better than what the record is, honestly. They went on a little run. They played good competition to get them to where they are today, to get them more prepared. And then you look at Clemson, though. They beat Alabama. They have beaten Maryland. They've beaten Purdue. They've beaten UNC. They've beaten Georgia Tech. All tournament teams. And in the past 13 games for Clemson, they went 7-6. But I'm just looking at Rutgers. I think their defense is solid. They are just phenomenal. And you know me, I've always talked about Rutgers. I've talked about them left and right. And I think Rutgers can get a good win in this one.
Yeah, I was kind of back and forth on this one as well. I, I personally didn't know where to go with this one. I mean, Clemson, I think, has been, like you said, been good all year. They've played pretty consistently, I would say, and playing some of the best teams in the country, tournament teams at that too. But then again, you look at Rutgers and you look at what conference they play in. Like you said, they're a lot better than what their record shows. And I think their record shows um, what it shows because of their conference. Being in the Big Ten this year is not easy. Um, I mean, you have two teams who are one seeds, and then you have two other teams, right, who are two seeds or two and three. So Big Ten has been hard this year. This Rutgers team is defensively, I think, is probably one of the best teams. It's just tough though because I don't know how they're going to perform outside of their arena. Like we know inside their arena, they're one of the best teams defensively because it's so compact and so small, like we've talked about. I just think Clemson can get it done on the road more than this Rutgers team can do. I think like playing in Indiana will
Oh, but think
be
about this one, Caleb. Think about this one. If they play in the gym they played before, because they're
the what?
using because like for this tournament they're using like Purdue,
Purdue's. Yeah.
Indiana's.
Yeah, that is true. So I mean, Rutgers would be a little bit more used to their rims in the court. So that does make sense. Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah, I would have to take Rutgers in that
I just persuaded you. Damn, I did my.
because knowing, I mean, it does make sense because going into play at Purdue, like Rutgers has played them what 2 times this year and played once on the road. So, well, and then the Big Ten championship was there too, wasn't it? So they played there twice. So yeah, I mean, they're used to that. It's kind of like a home court for them in this sense. So yeah, I could
It's more
see
of a
that.
home court for. It's more of an away game for Clemson than it is for Rutgers.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right, Caleb. Since we broke down majority of the games, give me your Final Four.
My Final Four, I have right now Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois.
I thought it was Michigan.
It was, but I thought about it a little bit more, and after watching this Alabama team the other day, I think I think I sent you a snap video. This Alabama team is unreal. I think they would be able to beat this Michigan team, and also I don't want to put all one seeds in the Final Four.
You can do it, chalk.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to see a little switch up, and I think it would be nice to have Alabama in the Final Four.
So do you have Alabama beat Michigan?
I do. I haven't beaten Michigan in the Elite Eight. Yeah, my Elite Eight goes Gonzaga, Iowa, Michigan, Alabama, Baylor, Texas Tech, Illinois, West Virginia.
Ain't bad. Ain't bad. And who's your national championship game?
Gonzaga and Baylor, and I have Gonzaga winning. I haven't won in 72-68, but I might have to bump that up a little bit more.
So you want to hear my Final Four?
Let's hear it.
You or do you give you my Elite Eight?
Do Elite Eight, then do Final Four.
My Elite Eight got Gonzaga, Iowa, Florida State, Alabama, Baylor, Arkansas, Illinois, WVU.
Throwing a couple curveballs in there, I see.
And here's a curveball right here. My Final Four. I got Gonzaga, Florida State, Arkansas, and Illinois.
Oh.
I think Arkansas is shooting better than Baylor shooting. Yes, Baylor got that leadership. I just think Arkansas, they proved to me that they're dominant. They can be dominant, averaging 86 points a game. Come on now. I like them a lot. But my national championship is Gonzaga versus Illinois. I do have that one.
Who do you have winning?
Gonzaga.
Yeah. I kind of think if you're going again, like if you're truly picking out a bracket, like not obviously I pick out like 3 or 4 each year, and I'll do like one for strictly West Virginia because I'm a West Virginia fan. Then I'll do like a serious one. Then I'll do one of all upsets, just for fun. And I kind of think this year, if you're not putting Gonzaga in the championship game, at least, I think you're just kind of asking to bust your own bracket because I feel like I've been repeating myself all year, but they've just been so good all year long.
Yeah, the reason why I have Florida State over Michigan. I have that one.
Yeah, why do you have them beating Michigan?
I just look at, Michigan as a whole. Yes, they've been playing really well, but I'm looking at who they're missing when they were dominant. And is it Livers?
I believe so.
Because I know they're without one of the best players. But I'm looking at Florida State, and they just proved to me to be phenomenal. Like in the Sweet 16, that's what I have in them. And then actually I have BYU in my Sweet 16 too.
Yeah, I have BYU making I think a Sweet 16 run. I have them making a Sweet 16 run and losing to Alabama.
I have Ohio in my Sweet 16 too.
I really think this man, I can't tell you how excited I am for this. Like, it's finally back. I've waited a whole year for this, and college basketball is finally back. I'm not moving from my couch today. I'm not.
And I was also looking at too, like I think whoever wins the Ohio State Arkansas game is making the Final Four. That's how I look at it. That's how I did it. Because I think those two teams are as good as Baylor. I mean, not as dominant as Baylor has been, but knowing what Baylor did, when they came off after being off for so long, hit him and slapped him in the face, almost lost Iowa State, then came back and lost to Kansas. So they've been off for a little bit after that Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely.
So that's how I look at it, and that's my Final Four: Gonzaga, Florida State, Illinois, Arkansas. Championship game: Illinois, Gonzaga. Gonzaga wins it. So Caleb, say your peace, love, and goodbyes, because that's the end of this long college March Madness breakdown.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us for episode 111. We will see you guys next week. Make sure you watch college basketball because it's the best time of the year, and you're not going to want to miss out on the best time of the year and some of the best games I think March Madness we'll see in a long time. So see you guys next week and have a good week.
Like Caleb said, you better watch March Madness. It's the best time of the year. You had a whole year off from it. So your time from resting from when 2019 Virginia won it to now, it's well done and overdue. So it's time to get back, sit back, and watch March Madness break down. Hey, if you're in school right now at 12 o'clock, 12:30, who cares what your teacher says? Pull your phone and watch a game. Forget what they say. And
Sorry to
explain
interrupt
why.
you. Sorry to interrupt you real quick. I saw one thing on Twitter last night. I retweeted it. We sleep in April. All right? That's all it is.
Exactly. You sleep in April, don't worry
Actually,
about
May. He said May because it's like towards the end of April is when it ends. So we'll sleep in May.
Let's think about this one. The first weekend's always the busiest weekend, but once it hits, it's like every week kind of thing. So
it's like the end. I think it's like the end, like the last 2 weeks of April is when it's officially over. So
you can sleep when there's no games that day. How about that one? We'll go with that one. So, but anyways, watch March Madness. Like, subscribe, share this one. We're trying to help you out with your bracket before the last minute thoughts happen, before the game bracket actually starts and kicks off. Listen to the upsets, get them done, get them out. I'm Matt Mac, peace out for the week. Peace.
Cause lately I ain't been the same, feel like I'm stuck in a maze. And I'm just trying to get out, I'm trying